Today we're diving into a story that connects a giant volcano in the middle of America with a massive tsunami that reshaped coastlines thousands of miles away. Sounds like a disaster movie plot, right? But this actually happened. We're talking about Yellowstone, but not the Yellowstone you know today. We're going way, way back. So, picture this. Yellowstone isn't just a park with geysers. It's a supervolcano. A behemoth slumbering beneath the surface. It has erupted in the past with unimaginable force, and one of these ancient eruptions is the start of our story. We're talking about an event that was thousands of times more powerful than any volcanic eruption in recorded history. When Yellowstone blew its top, it didn't just create a massive crater, it blanketed a huge portion of North America in a thick layer of volcanic ash. Now, you might be thinking, okay, a volcano erupts in Wyoming. What does that have to do with the ocean? And that's where things get really interesting. This isn't just a story about ash falling from the sky. It's about what happened next. Imagine tons and tons of this volcanic material, ash, rock, and debris, being blasted into the atmosphere and then settling over thousands of square miles. A lot of this material landed in the ocean, but a huge amount also covered the land, including the area we now know as the southeastern United States. Over time, this loose, unstable volcanic soil piled up, especially along the coastline and on the continental shelf, which is the underwater ledge that extends from the coast. This created a ticking time bomb. Think of it like building a giant sandcastle on a shaky table. All that loose volcanic sediment, piled up over centuries, was just waiting for a nudge to collapse. And that nudge came in the form of a massive underwater landslide. Geologists have found evidence of a colossal landslide off the coast of Florida, on a feature called the Florida Platform. An enormous chunk of the seafloor, overloaded with all that volcanic debris from Yellowstone, suddenly gave way and slid into the deep ocean. We're talking about a volume of material that would dwarf anything we can easily imagine. Now, what happens when you drop a massive object into a bathtub? You get a big splash and a wave, right? Scale that up to an oceanic level. This gigantic underwater landslide displaced a mind-boggling amount of water, triggering a mega-tsunami. This wasn't your typical earthquake-generated tsunami. This was something on a whole different scale. Scientists call this a flank collapse tsunami, and they are among the most destructive waves on the planet. The wave generated by the collapse of the Yellowstone-infused sediment was colossal. Estimates suggest it could have been hundreds of feet high as it approached the coast. To put that into perspective, the devastating 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami, which we all remember, had waves that were around 100 feet high in the hardest hit areas. The wave we're talking about could have been several times that size. It would have been a wall of water, moving at the speed of a jetliner, crashing into the ancient coastlines of the Americas and even reaching across the Atlantic. Evidence for this mega-tsunami isn't just a theory, it's written in the rock. Geologists have found unusual sediment layers far inland, in places like Florida, the Carolinas, and even across the Caribbean and on the coast of Africa. These layers contain a strange mix of deep-sea microfossils and coastal materials, all jumbled together in a way that can only be explained by a massive high-energy wave picking them up and dumping them far from their original home. Think about it. Tiny sea creatures that lived in the deep ocean were suddenly carried miles inland and deposited on what was then dry land. The sheer power required to do that is almost impossible to comprehend. This single event would have completely scoured and reshaped coastlines, carving out new inlets, destroying entire ecosystems, and leaving a scar on the geological record that we can still read today. So let's connect the dots again. A supervolcano erupts in the heart of North America. It covers the land and sea with volcanic ash. This ash accumulates on the seafloor, creating an unstable slope. That slope eventually collapses in a gigantic underwater landslide. And that landslide triggers a mega-tsunami that devastates coastlines thousands of miles away. It's an incredible chain reaction, a perfect example of how interconnected our planet's systems are. One event in one location can have catastrophic consequences on the other side of the continent or even the world. Now, before you start packing your bags and moving to the mountains, it's important to remember we're talking about events that happened a very, very long time ago. The conditions that led to this specific mega-tsunami, aren't present today. However, this story serves as a powerful lesson. It teaches us about the immense power of nature and the unexpected ways geological events can be linked. Scientists study these past events not to scare us, but to understand the full range of what our planet is capable of. By understanding the causes and effects of this ancient Yellowstone-triggered tsunami, we can better model and prepare for potential future tsunamis, even if they are from different causes, like earthquakes or other underwater landslides. It's a piece of a much larger puzzle that helps us build a safer future. The story of the Yellowstone tsunami is a humbling reminder that the ground beneath our feet and the oceans that surround us are dynamic and ever-changing. It's a terrifyingly awesome piece of our planet's history, showing how a volcano's fiery breath can become a wave that reshapes the world. Thanks so much for watching and for joining me on this deep dive into Earth's dramatic past. I hope you found it as fascinating as I do. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss our next adventure. Let me know in the comments what other geological mysteries you'd like to explore. Until next time, stay curious.